What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. Today, we're featuring a product from Real Steel Knives. What we've got is the Megalodon folder, and not only do we have the standard G10, quote-unquote, budget line Megalodon folder, but we've got the 2017 upgraded titanium frame lock version. We're going to feature these two knives in this video, and in a separate video we're going to feature the yet again upgraded and slightly or radically changed 2018 Eclipse model. So we got all three of these, but this video is going to feature these two knives because they mirror each other. And the 2018 Eclipse model, the blade shape it's basically totally changed, guys. It's different blade profile. Now, these knives were sent to me by a viewer named Frank. Thank you, Frank, for loaning me these knives for content for the channel. Everybody take a moment to pause and thank Frank. And he sent me these two knives, and then he had LTK send this knife to me. I believe what this is it's Frank's knife, and LTK reviewed it and then sent it on to me, I believe is what happened. And then I can return all three of these back to Frank when I get done with them. And I appreciate it. It's great to look at basically every version of this knife at the same time. I've really enjoyed this, and I hope you guys do too. Now, Real Steel is one of these Chinese companies that is up and coming, and they give us a super high quality line of knives, and they follow a typical business model for these companies. They'll do a lower end range, your budget range that is easily accessible price wise, but it's still super high quality. And then they'll do a more premium version for those that like the models, but typically buy more premium knives. And these two knives are basically the same thing. In fact, almost all the dimensions are exactly the same. You've got some change in material to denote the more premium pricing of this titanium model, which is 2017 version. All right. I'm getting sort of out of whack here, guys, but let's look at the packaging. Real Steel uses this structured box. Inside the box, you're going to find your paperwork. You're going to find a microfiber cleaning cloth, typical type of stuff, guys. There's no pouch, but it is nice packaging. This one is for the titanium version, the 2017, and it is a numbered version. It's number 286 of, I don't even know how many, guys. I didn't pick that information up in my research. But this is the packaging that I have seen with all the Real Steels that have come through Baz on Blades here, regardless of whether they are a budget model or a more premium model. And it's really, really nice, actually. All right, so let's get to the specs on this. And like I say, these two knives mirror each other in almost all specs. So it's not going to be too crazy to keep up with this. What you're looking at, we'll just pull the G10 version here. You're looking at a 3 7/8 inch blade length. They said it's 3.9 inches. I got 3 7/8, and that's about 10 centimeters. Your blade stock thickness, 137 thousandths of an inch, or 3.5 millimeters. Blade width at the widest point, 1.03 inches, or 26.3 millimeters. Your handle length, 4 7/8 of an inch, or slightly more than 12 centimeters. Now, handle thickness is where these two knives differ. One specification: the G10 model is thicker in the handle, and it is at 544 thousandths of an inch, or 13.82 millimeters. The titanium model, being thinner, is at 486 thousandths of an inch, or 12.3 millimeters. You're about 1.5 millimeters difference between these two. And then for your handle width at the widest point, 1.04 inches, or 26.4 millimeters. Your closed width, fairly thin, because that blade doesn't stick out a lot, guys. It's not fully nested, but it is fairly thin or narrow. 1.25 inches up here, and that's 31.8 millimeters. Your overall length, 8 3/4 of an inch, or slightly more than 22 centimeters. Stop pin diameter, 135 thousandths of an inch, or 3.47 millimeters. Behind the edge on these flat ground blades, guys, is incredibly thin. These are very slicey blade grinds. I averaged out between 17 and 19 thousandths of an inch on both of these versions, and that's about 0.46, 0.48 millimeters. That's very slicey, guys. Love these full flat grinds. The handle to blade ratio on these, very good at 0.78, and your weight for the G10 model, which is the heavier version because of the steel liners, 4.66 ounces or 132 grams. The titanium 2017 model, 4.3 ounces or 122 grams. All right, guys, I'm going to use this box as a prop, and we're just going to go back and forth. Oh, wow, look at that. Back and forth. How you like those special effects? Yeah, that's premium entertainment here on Baz on Blades. We're going to go back and forth between the two models, and let's get into materials. Blade-wise, on the G10 version, which is their budget version, and you can get for about $59 from different dealers online. You're in Sandvik's 14C28N for your blade steel. You're in G10 for your handle material with stainless liners, and you can see down in there they are weight relieved. You have stainless small parts. You have a stainless bent pocket clip here, guys, and that pocket clip is not reversible for right or left. It is right hand tip up only. Now, in your titanium version, for your blade steel, you are in M390, which is a very high-end, very premium stainless steel. You're in titanium for the frame lock here, stainless small parts, your screws, and you do have a titanium pocket clip here, guys. It is a bent titanium pocket clip, not a milled pocket clip. And on both of these, you have a ball bearing pivot. They are very smooth, guys. And then on the titanium frame lock, you do have a hardened stainless lock face and over travel insert. All right. So, again, guys, you're looking at a difference between a $59 budget-oriented knife here in this design and a $200 plus $207 premium version. And both... you know what? Both are a great way to get into this design. I don't, you know, if I had this knife, I'd be like, woohoo, I got this knife. If I had this knife, I'd be like, woohoo, I got this knife. I mean, really, guys, other than the obvious differences in materials due to the price points, they are both excellent knives. Fit and finish wise, we'll start out here on the G10 version. You're going to go up to this full flat ground blade here, guys. The grinds are even, the edge is even, the pointy tip is pointy and tippy like it should be. It's just very well done. You can see this satin finish right here, guys, and that is, you know, a sort of a high grit as ground satin, and it may have just a little buff put on it, but it is very attractive, and that is a full flat grind. The real steel marking on the front is large, but it's attractive. The font is attractive. The design is attractive. On the back, you see that you've got your model number, Megalodon, and your steel designator here. It's very well finished, guys. I see zero issue in the finish on this blade at all. Into the handle, the G10 is well machined, no issues there. The fit between the G10 and the stainless steel liners is even. There's no nail catches or anything. All of this satin hardware is nicely finished, and you can see it's radially finished, so it gives sort of that little starfire type of look to it. because it's radially machined. And everything just looks good, guys. You've got a nice polished pocket clip here that has got this Megalodon sort of tail type of look. And you know, it's really sort of nice. That is, you see it's one screw, but it is in a recessed pocket, so it's not squirmy. It doesn't move around any at all, guys. Very well done as far as fit and finish on the G10 model. Now the 2017 version, the Ti, again, we're going to go back up to the blade. You know, there was supposed to be an upgrade in the finishes of the blade, and you know what, guys, they're very close as far as I can tell finish wise, which is a very fine as ground satin, lightly buffed. All the grinds are even on this. I will say that the plunge grind is slightly different. You can see as the light reflects across a plunge grind, it is slightly different. This is a straighter plunge line. It's two-stage. You got sort of a flat plunge straight down into the primary grind here. And then on the titanium version, this is sort of a radial type of plunge with a much softer type of plunge down onto the primary grind. But as far as the finishing goes, it's pretty much the same, guys, just in a more premium blade steel. Both of these have a great sharpening choil, good edge grinds on them. Again, very sharp, pointy, pokey. We're going to go over here to the handle, and you've got a stone wash on this titanium. Very well done. There's no stray machining marks. Again, you can see this is pocket milled on the interior for weight relief. You know, you've got the stainless small parts that again have that radial sort of star fire, star bursty type of look to them, which is, I love that look, guys. It makes your hardware look more premium without it, you know, just jumping out like a color anodization or something. It's very subtle, but it does give a more premium look overall, and it's nice to see it on both of these versions, guys. It's very attractive. All right, let's see here. What else do I really like about the fit and finish on this titanium version? You've got a titanium pocket clip. You've got a little bit of heat anodization here. And you know what? I don't know if it came that way or if Frank did that. If Frank did it, that's actually a pretty decent touch right there. I like this puzzle piece sort of lock bar cutout that you see here. It's not just a straight line or just a curved line. It's actually, it comes down and it comes back and it comes this way. It's sort of like a drunk driver at 3 o'clock in the morning trying to get home. They eventually get home, hopefully. It's very attractive. The relief here is not your just standard straight cuts on the relief for the lock bar. There's a lot going on here for the back side of a knife, and you typically do not see this much detailing on the back side of a frame lock. It's very attractive, guys. Both of these knives feature concave dish standoffs, and then they've got a drilled pin in the butt end here for a lanyard mount. And while I'm not a big lanyard guy, that's sort of a cool way of doing it, and that's mirrored on both versions, guys. You can see here it's the same thing. It's very, like I say, you're getting the same knife. You're just getting in at two different price points with super high-end quality. Now, as far as the action goes, both of these are on bearing pivots. Both of them are very smooth. Both have a great detent. The detent on the G10 model is not as firm as the titanium model, but it is plenty firm enough to store plenty of energy to rocket that blade open. It is very smooth. Yeah, it's very smooth, guys. Not quite drop closed ease on the closing, but very smooth. And this one, I did not disassemble this knife because it's not mine, but this one has a little squeak in it. Okay, it didn't squeak there. Oh, squeaky bastard. Okay, it's not going to squeak on me now. But it had a squeak like you were opening a door with a squeaky hinge on it, and I don't know, because I couldn't feel anything in there. So it's just one of those things. The titanium frame lock version has a stiffer detent on it, and it really rockets open. It's very smooth, and it's not drop shutty smooth either, but it is very smooth. It's hydraulic smooth, and both of these knives have super solid lockup, no play laterally or radially in the lockup. You can see the Ti version here. The lockup on it is probably 40%, say maybe 50%. And then the lockup on the liner lock version here is also probably about 50%, guys. Both of these are perfectly centered. Let's pull this out here. They are both perfectly centered. And we're getting the aspect of the the aspect of where the camera lens is, guys. But both are perfectly centered. And this is extremely awkward trying to do two knives out here. So the action, as far as opening, very pleasing. As far as the bearing feel, very pleasing. The detents are dialed in on them, and they both rocket open. The premium version feels slightly more kinetic, let's just say that. But neither one of them is bad. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter if you've got $59 to spend on the Megalodon G10 or you've got $207 to spend on the titanium model. Both are very, very good representations of this design. All right, we'll go on to ergos, and we're just going to pick one of these up and go through it. This is a fully flat ground drop point, fairly sharp and narrow drop point design here. They are incredibly thin behind the edge, therefore they are going to be slicers, not choppers. You shouldn't be out chopping with your folder anyway, but they are very, 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 very slicey. I cannot emphasize, if I would have put, you know, 2 or 3 more varies on there, that's about how slicey they are, guys. Drop point configuration. What do we need to say about the drop point configuration as far as utilitarian use? It is still my favorite blade style as far as a working blade. This one is a narrower profile with a more narrow and pronounced tip on it. You can see your grind from the spine here. It is plenty thin on the tip, but it's not delicate, guys. You know, this 14C28N version is going to give you, you know, really good mid-range cutting ability. And let's talk a little bit about the steel right there, since I didn't do it at the normal place at the beginning of the video. You know, 14C28N, guys, is a good mid-grade steel. In fact, many people, many knife enthusiasts, it's their favorite mid-grade steel. It tends to be a very fine-grained, sort of, the performance is at the upper end of the mid-range. It is a, it's a better performer than your AUS 8, your HCR, your 440 AB, and probably C. Although I'm a 440C fan, I think that I like 14C28N a little bit better. Of course, over here on the premium version, you've got the same blade profile, the same thin grind, but you step up to M390, which is a very high-end, ultra high performance stainless steel, arguably the best performing stainless steel out there. And you know, what can I say? It's going to have excellent edge retention. It's going to have very good toughness, going to have very good corrosion resistance. It's hard to resharpen, okay? Man, I can slap this on my KME and it's got a good sharpening choil on it, and get on it with the diamonds, and take it up all the way through 1500 grit, and then get on it with the strops and the compounds and put a mirror edge on it. But I'm not going to do it in 30 minutes like I'm going to do on this knife. This is a softer steel. It is less packed with carbides than the M390 is, and it's easier to sharpen. So there again, guys, two great steels in two knives of the same design at two different price points, and that's fantastic. As far as handle ergonomics go, the Megalodon is a sort of a strange handle profile to me. This swoop in the center of the back of the handle, I'm used to more seeing and rather than convex or concave. I can't think about which one is which right now, guys. But rather than a drop, I'm used to seeing an arch in the back. And this is sort of jarring to my eyes. But in the hand, it's comfortable. These are fairly narrow handles, but they have enough thickness, even in the Ti version, which is the thinner version, to be comfortable in the hand. You've got a nice forward finger choil here that really locks your hand onto the blade or the handle. You've got a neutral and wide open center section and butt end of the handle here that doesn't restrict your grips. Forward grip is excellent. Reverse grip is excellent. You can see the butt end of the handle. It works very well to cap with my thumb. As far as a draw grip, no, you got too much intrusion with that flipper tab. Pinch grip, it is more comfortable than some because it's chamfered on the front, but not as comfortable as some. Not a grip that I use a lot, and it could be used, guys, don't get me wrong, but it's still just a little bit thick up there on the front end to be doing a pinch grip, and you'll see that it's going to be even thicker on the G10 model because the handle is slightly thicker. But overall, ergonomically, the handle really works, even though, like I say, it's sort of jarring to my eyes because it's a different type of look than I am used to. And you know what, guys? There's a reason that there's 10 gazillion reviews for the Real Steel Megalodon on YouTube. This knife really works. I cannot say enough about how slicey that blade profile and grinds, how they work together just to make those blades are like lasers, guys. They cut cardboard like nobody's business. And I will put these blades, as far as slicing, up against any factory knife that I have come across, guys. Any of them. I mean, even for those of you that are, Spyderco fanboys, and you're the Spyderco thin behind the edge, and they're the best slicers. And you know what? I've sliced with a lot of Spydercos that didn't slice anywhere near as good as these two knives, regardless of blade steel. That's saying something, guys. This knife right here at $59, that thing is a winner. Now, am I going to go out and hard use it? No, it's a thin, behind the edge blade grind. I would not ever put it under any impact. I would not ever cut and twist. I would never pry with this. And actually, that describes things I would never do with any folding knife, regardless of the design anyway. But as far as my viewers go, I would not recommend those types of movements with these knives. These are sort of large EDC knives that are oriented more towards slicing than they are hard utility use. They're very smooth on bearing pivots. The lockup on both of them is solid. The centering is great. The action is very pleasing on both of them, guys. It's just a great design, well executed at two radically different price points. And that's a big win for Real Steel. This is a business model that I don't want to say I approve of it, like they're waiting to see if Baz on Blades approves on what they're doing, but actually I do very much approve of this business model. And multiple companies are using this right now, and it is one of the reasons that these high quality Chinese produced knives are becoming so popular. There really are no American companies that are giving this to us. Sure, there's American companies that make great high-end knives, but they don't do a budget version of that same design at a very high quality level. There's American companies that do great budget knives, but there's no premium version of that knife. That's a very, very, and I don't understand this. I don't understand why more companies are not grabbing onto this business model, because it really does connect the two spectrums, the far ends of the spectrum, let's say, of the knife collected, knife enthusiast community. So I commend Real Steel on both of these models at two radically different price points on the same design. Very well done, Real Steel. I do see now why people love this knife so much, and I can recommend both versions of this knife. And then later on, version number 3, I'm going to recommend it also, so just be forewarned, guys. So anyway, thank you to Frank for sending these to me. LTK, thank you for your help in this also. Once again, I thank all of you for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.